Good evening. I hope your weekend is treating you well. I'm Tracey, and we are bringing you tonight's episode of Paranormal Perspectives along with
Al.
Hello, Al. How was your weekend?
Oh, it was absolutely exciting.
Absolutely exciting. That's, I think that's putting it mildly. We've got some huge news for you guys. We were completely bowled over and overwhelmed. We were approached during the week to film an episode of an upcoming TV show with Guy Williams. Now, this completely came out of left field. It was a pretty amazing experience. Would that putting it mildly, Al?
Oh, it absolutely was. Great memories. Oh, my gosh. I just can't stop talking about it. I'm so excited, but, yeah, nerve-wracking at the same time.
Yeah, well, what happened is that they just sent us a message on Facebook asking if we could give them some stories about local haunts around the Manawatu, kind of specifically Rangatiki area. And we just sent a message back saying, we know about this place and that place and so forth. And then they asked if they could just have a little phone interview with me, and I was fine with that. And then it turned into, can we come and just have a chat with you at your house on the weekend? And I was fine with that. And then it turns out, actually, can we actually go out with you, with your team, with Guy Williams, and film an episode for this upcoming show? Am I going to say no?
Well, I didn't expect it to turn out that way. I saw a post in the Martin Locally group, and I thought, well, the best people to ask is our team. And, she ended up messaging Tracey, and it went that way. And to find out Guy Williams was coming along, I didn't expect that at all.
He's a lot taller, let me tell you. He's a lot taller in person than what he seems tall on the TV. But in person, he literally pretty much has to duck to go through any doorway. And I don't think anyone in our team has any height on them, really, do we?
Other than my husband, but he's not on the team. So,
so we had a big team interview at my home, and that was all well and good. And then we had to go out with them during the night. When it was dark, we went into Martin and we actually did an investigation. Now, they did have someone else along with them. Can you remember?
Josh.
His name was Josh. And he was doing his thing there and we were doing our thing. And we know there's going to be some comedy to it. Come on, this is Guy Williams. We don't expect it to be a documentary type show or anything just teaching everyone about what our team does. We know that there's going to be comedy. They're going to poke some fun at us, and we're completely fine with that. Now, there is a limit, and we made sure that we weren't going to be portrayed as these strange, kooky people that, everyone should avoid. But as I said, we know how to have a laugh at what we do. We know that what we do is strange and out of the ordinary. So hopefully it comes out to be a really good show and you all get to enjoy it. Now, it's probably not coming out till around June. We will keep you all up to date and keep you posted on that. If you want to see just a couple of photos of our time with Guy Williams and his crew, they are on our Facebook page, Paranormal Journeys and Investigations. Jump on there, have a look and have a laugh. Let's just say none of us are used to being on TV, so
no.
I am kind of dreading when this comes out. Now, a couple of years ago for Halloween, I was rung up and interviewed by the Edge radio station, and that was Jono and Ben. In all honesty, I was more nervous being interviewed by Jono and Ben. I thought they were going to rip me to shreds. But actually the only thing they poked fun at is that what we do and our services are all entirely free for our clients, and they kind of gave me the whole, what kind of business plan is that, la 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 la. I said, well, it's not a full-time job. I don't get paid to do this. This is just something we love. It's our passion, and we are never going to charge. So if you guys ever need some help, don't feel like, I better check my pocket first. I can't really afford to have these guys come in and help me. Everything we do is free. Last year we were also interviewed by Stuff for Halloween. That's another good article. You can have a look. We've got that linked on our website, and the Jono and Ben interview. So, yeah, we're getting our name out there, aren't we, Al?
Oh, gosh, yes. But, yeah, it's all for free, and we basically do it because we love to do it, and we'd love to help you. So, honestly, come and contact us either on our Facebook page or by the website.
Yeah, definitely. If you've ever just got a question, or if you've got a photo you just want us to have a look at, or a recording, something strange happening in the background, that's what we're here for. If it's something more active, if your house or your workplace seems to be like you've got a few extra guests there that haven't been invited and they're not paying their rent, give us a call. We'll come in and do an investigation, and you can stay and you can actually do the investigation with us. It's quite an amazing experience. I remember the first time I went out, I was of course not really investigating. I was just kind of watching what was happening to see if it was something I was into, and yeah, it's something you never really come across in any other walk of life, do you?
No.
It's a one-off thing.
Oh, it's just, you go in and you sort of expect, okay, this is probably what's going to happen. You've seen it on TV shows. But you go in and it's quite an amazing procedure. You know, they go in, you go looking around, you talk with the people who own the business or their home. You talk to them and you listen to their stories of what's happening to them. You actually do feel for these people. There's some, the story we investigated the home, they're experiencing bad luck, it's really quite interesting. And then when you see the technical side of things, with the way they're setting up the CCTV, the wiring and everything, it's quite a procedure. It's not just go in, set up cameras and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah. Now, it's not something you can enter into lightly in a financial perspective. It's actually not a cheap hobby. The majority of the equipment we use, we actually need to order in from overseas. For some strange reason, they don't make paranormal gear over here. Maybe that's something I should get into, but I don't have that technical kind of mind. You go, of course, our night vision CCTV and that we can buy here, but everything else pretty much, bar voice recording and a camcorder and a camera, we need to get from overseas. So, yeah, it's definitely not a cheap hobby, but it's our baby, it's what we love, and oh my gosh, we look after that equipment.
Yes.
Now, you can get apps on cell phones that claim to do some of the things our equipment does. Like you can get one of the pieces of equipment we don't actually have yet because it is very expensive, is an Ovulus. What that is you go into an investigation and it's kind of like a dictionary. And you may ask a question like, for instance, what is your name? And a voice comes through the Ovulus and a word comes up and it might say Stephen. You might say, how many of you are here? And it might come up and say 5. It might even come up and say cauliflower. It doesn't always make sense. And the Ovulus is an amazing piece of equipment. I do hope to have one day. I have used one, excuse me. But you can get an Ovulus kind of app on a cell phone. Now, we're not scientists. We didn't make these apps. We can't tell you one way or the other if they work. We've just got our own opinions. And what's your opinion, Al?
I think they don't work. I honestly think they're a gimmick that you can get for free. There's one you can actually purchase. I think it's just a gimmick and it just randomly picks words. You'll be there sitting there quietly and then it'll say 1, banana. And it's actually, I don't think it is correct. You can also get a K2 reader on there. I've tested that.
Yeah. A K2 picks up the electromagnetic fields. A lot of electricians, etc., use them. You walk around a room and you make sure there's no hidden wires in the walls, etc., that could set off certain pieces of equipment and give you false readings and thoughts, thinking, there's some energy here, there's a spirit here, whereas it's just some old phone lines in the wall. So yeah, you can get one for the K2, can't you?
Yes. I tested that at home, randomly being bored, and I took my phone over to obviously a PowerPoint or something that would set it off, and nothing happened. I went and stood by my kitchen sink, had my phone over top of the sink, and it set it off. There's no wires around that area.
Unless maybe you got a garbage disposal, you might have some wires.
Maybe, but in our kitchen, we don't because we're renovating. But, yeah, you just got to be careful when you get those apps that you're not sort of...
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is another one. I can't remember what it's called now. And it kind of lets you know if there's spirits standing near you. And it does actually have an Ovilus with it as well. Now, I must admit, I did use this one a couple of times and it did blow me away. Way back before I had my team and I had basically literally just my camera, I used, remind me, I'm going to have to bring the name of it next week. I used it down in Christchurch at an old church that was all closed off because of the earthquakes, and I got an amazing. I think I've shown you that picture of the girl sitting in front of the church. Yeah, I'll have to put that up online for you guys to have a look at too. It's the most amazing apparition I've ever caught. You can actually make out a kind of a young girl sitting down, like she's posing for a photo, like a school photo, hands in the lap sort of thing. And anyway, I was there with using this app, and the words that were coming through, and they were actually kind of like responses to what I was saying, and it all made sense. And this really blew me away. But then in saying that, I'd use it another day, and yeah, like you said, it was throwing through random words, maybe car keys and hamster and just strange things that make no sense. So I don't know, maybe there's a couple of the apps out there that do work, but then in my opinion, when this app's been made, you've got no idea how they've made it, and it might be set, like for instance, like with a timer, and every so many minutes it's going to throw out this word, and maybe all these words are already set up to come out over time. I wouldn't put money on them that they are legit. So if you do want to have some fun, go for it. Download these apps. They're definitely fun.
Might have to do it like a tester and actually download a couple and see how it goes in the next investigation.
We might actually do that. Okay, you guys, Al and I are going to bombard our cell phones this week. We might download maybe 5 each. Should we do 5? Right, I'm writing this down right now. 5 apps.
We'll write down the name too, so you know which one.
Write down the name. So I will download the one that I will know it when I see the logo. So I will download the one I was talking about before, and we are going to come back probably not next week, because I think I've already got it all set up to actually have Luca here for the first time next week. So in a couple of weeks' time, after we've had time to really give all these apps a go, we will give you the results, and oh my God, it's going to be a laugh. And what I'd love you guys to do, if any of you have used a ghost app, paranormal app, etc., and you've had an experience, good or bad, funny, not funny, give us a message. Contact our Facebook page, like I said, Paranormal Journeys and Investigations. Don't get confused. Our radio show is called Paranormal Perspectives, but the actual team name is Paranormal Journeys and Investigations. Give us a message. Let us know. And, hey, if you've got a great story, I might even give you a call during the week, have a little bit of an interview with you, and we'll have a good laugh together, or we'll have a good cry together. Whatever the experience was, we'd love to share those with you. Now, I'm going to talk to something a little bit more personal here. Let's kind of turn it down a bit, maybe a bit more serious. Al, you've had quite a few experiences with objects appearing, etc. You lost your niece, unfortunately, a couple of years ago. Is that right?
Yeah, she was only 2 years old. Very special to me. So, it's still bittersweet, but I know she's still around in her own little ways. So.
What kind of ways does she visit Auntie?
Usually, I think for me personally, I think the whole family, we think she appears as she lets us know she's still around by sending a butterfly, specifically the monarch butterfly. Was
there like a special connection with her and a butterfly?
On her second birthday, I brought her a swan plant, and I wanted her and her brother to see the life cycle of the butterfly from the moment the butterfly laid the egg to it turned into a caterpillar, to a chrysalis, and then to the butterfly again. And then not long after her passing, the monarch butterfly theme really started showing itself. On the day of her funeral, someone delivered a monarch butterfly balloon. Her cake, we had a little cake for her, they had a butterfly on it. Every now and again, when I'm outside, or doing something, a butterfly would come and sort of hover and then fly away again.
Closer than what your average butterfly would come to you.
Yeah. We've had, not long after she died, my daughter at the time, who was a little bit older than her, came in, and next minute she's looking over the other side of the bed and she's starting to say, no, this is mine. Like, you know how toddlers get quite possessive of a toy and go, no, that's mine.
Yeah.
We looked in her hand, and in her hand was this little toy, and I thought maybe, it was my niece making an appearance and
having a good old argument.
Yeah, before moving on.
Still racking things up.
Yeah.
Now, when you gave her the swan plant, was she already unwell?
No.
Oh, wow.
There was no signs, nothing. Soph was an average 2-year-old girl running around, annoying her older brother.
Like they should be, yeah.
Yeah, and then just suddenly she was gone.
So, yeah, it's not right. It's not right when it's anybody, actually, that we love, but it's definitely not right when it's a child. But at least we know that they can kind of come and visit us in their own way. Yeah. Like my friend that I would call him like my kindred spirit. We were never like boyfriend and girlfriend. This is going right back to when I was 20, he was 19. We were never an item in that way, but we were always really, really close. And his was a tragic accident. He got hit by a train. But he's always kind of made his appearance in music, which I know everybody says, this is his song, and it's just come on, but it's specifically like around special dates. Another experience is the other night I was cleaning out. I have like a office that I use kind of as a wardrobe. It's this strange room on the edge of our bedroom. And I was cleaning out all old letters and sadly throwing out some of the artwork I've gathered over the years from my kids, because I think all adults know we can't keep every piece of artwork. No. And I came across this old letter that his sister had written me. She's a couple of years younger. And it was so funny because she would have been about 8 years old when she wrote it, and she was having a moan about her big brother and what he's been doing and this, that and the other. And right then his funeral song, Nothing Else Matters, came on.
Wow.
And it was literally at that moment I found an old photo of them as well, and that was really amazing. And then I actually clicked that it was basically, I think it was a day after or a day before his birthday.
Wow.
And then the other day, it wasn't his birthday. I think it was near the day that he'd passed. And a couple of nights ago, driving home from school or something with my kids, and realised, today's his birthday. Next minute, his song comes on. So they've definitely got their ways that they let us know they're still around. And I lost him 20 years ago now.
That's a lot. And
they still pop in
and
say hi and how you going. And a few people have seen his presence around in my house. I think he's keeping an eye on. I've given a home for life to, with my husband and I, have given home to life to twin baby boys. And, of course, they were born into the foster system, and they came straight to us, though. And people have kind of said, I see this guy at the top of your stairs and he looks like this, and they describe him down to a T. And I was like, I wonder why, he's suddenly hanging out all the time. And then I remembered that he was in the foster system a lot too. So it's kind of like I'm assuming he's going to be like a little spirit guide for them and guide them through. And it was so awesome because I've never had anyone or even myself sense his actual spiritual presence in my house until now. Yeah. So it's pretty cool that, they definitely keep their tabs on us from wherever they are, I'll tell you that much. I don't think a couple of times over the years I've had strange kind of smells that I can't understand. There's this smell that always comes around and it reminds me of my father, but I haven't actually lost my father yet, so I'm not quite sure why that keeps popping in, just these strange things that connect us to people. Have you had any other strange kind of...
Well, most people know, especially my friends know I'm not a baker. I cannot bake for the life of me. But I was sitting in my living room and the smell of baked cookies came into the house. And I was just looking around, I'm like, who the heck is baking around my place? And so I walked outside and the smell wasn't there. Yeah. Came back in again and the smell was still there, and it just brought comfort. And I don't know what connection that is to anybody with my family, but...
Someone was baking cookies.
Yeah, someone was baking cookies, but just that smell there has just brought comfort. But I've heard of other stories of people going into a home where they've had like a loved one being there, and then the smell of their perfume like suddenly comes in. So like smell of roses, just little triggers like that. We've also, we're going back to the symbol of the monarch butterfly. We had a question being answered by this monarch butterfly appearing, and that was like a definite no. So just little things like that is quite amazing.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely nice when we have these little connections, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
And then you've got the whole... I was going to start a conversation with you in regards to like our children.
Yes. And
how we not just approach like death with our children, but... how we approach what we do.
Yeah.
Now, we're probably not going to be able to too deep in it, but let's just say we'll cover how we explain what we do with them in our next show. But in regards to death, how do you explain death to a child? How did you approach it with your kids when you lost your little niece?
Well, when she died, we told the children that Sophie's body was very sick suddenly, and that her body, because we believe in the afterlife and returning back to Heavenly Father when they die. So we just told them that Heavenly Father called her back and that it was time for her to come home. Sad as it is, it was her time. So we just told them that her spirit had left her body and now she's free like a butterfly, and that's how we explained.
An important job for her to do up there.
Yeah.
It's definitely not an easy thing. I know that when my friend lost her daughter, one of my daughters was 5. My other daughter was a baby, so of course I didn't have to explain anything to her. But yeah, I was kind of along the same lines that the body was unwell, the body was sick, the body has finished its job, but her spirit is still. Her spirit still remains, and her, like, I'm not so much heaven and hell, etc., but that there is a spiritual place that we go to, and that now she's up there and she's either watching down on us, still visiting us, etc. But it's definitely not an easy topic, but it's something unfortunately some people need to approach with children. Well, that'll be us for this week. I hope you guys have all had a good time listening to us rattle on here. Don't forget, if you've got any topics you want us to cover, flick us a message and we'll definitely try and get those spoken about in an upcoming episode. But until then, guys, have a good weekend and we'll catch you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
See ya.
Bye.